And what are we doing, Clemson? I thought we were cool. I thought vibes were high. Clemson just made the NCAA tournament. You went full Florida State on us. You didn't go half Florida State. You didn't dip your toe in the water. You went full Seminoles of Florida State on us. Clemson suing the ACC in South Carolina for the same nonsense Florida State is suing the ACC in Florida. Grant of rights enforceability. Now, we could get into what that means, and it all comes down to media rights and who has the rights to their games and when does it return to the team and how much money is the exit fee and how much money are others, blah, 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 blah. We'll say it like this. Clemson wants out. Florida State wants out. We can laugh at Florida State. We have laughed at Florida State. We've done it. But I don't think you can laugh at Clemson and Florida State. I think any one team that wants to go rogue for people that were active on the internet like 15 years ago, if they want to go full Leroy Jenkins, if they just want to be a lone wolf running out there into the wilderness, how are they going to survive out there? But as soon as you have two pretty strong programs and they're rolling out there, it does become a bit of like, well, we might have a problem on our hands. So we'll take it more seriously. But that just means I'm asking the exact same question that I asked when Florida State started this nonsense. I'm just doing so with less incredulous vibes, less like condescending vibes, and more serious vibes. How do you see this? How do you see this working out? Right, I used to ask Florida State, like, how do you see this working out? Now it's like, okay, guys, let's gather. How do you see this working out for you? What can Clemson's high-priced lawyers find and or do that Florida State's high-priced lawyers can't find or do? That they haven't been able to find or do over the last year that Florida State has been pretty obvious they want out. What is going to change? Because the facts remain the facts. These grants of rights, whether they're a good deal or a bad deal, and I think as you see other conferences make more and more and more money and you recognize that the ACC is locked into this through 2036, I think it's fair to say it's a bad deal. But the moment you can back out of a contract because it's a bad deal, chaos will ensue in the business world. Suddenly, Jordan Poole's no longer a wizard. See what happens here? Mm-hmm. So, soon as it's a bad deal, hey, that contract, it's not market value anymore. I would like to not do it. I would like to not honor it. You're going to get just pure chaos. And not the good kind of chaos like the Canes try to cause. The bad right. kind of chaos like you're an opponent of the Canes. Nobody forced these teams to sign the grant of rights, and the grant of rights is just a fancy word for a contract. It's an exchange of goods and services. We, meaning the ACC, has the rights to your media deal and the negotiation of it and all of those rights that come with it in exchange for X amount of dollars that we will give you every year. That's a contract. That is an exchange of goods and services. Now, if you want out, I get it. You know what you can do is you can enter into negotiations with the other holder of the contract, but they're not going to let you leave for significantly less than they're owed. You want to buy yourself out? $500 million. I'm sure that's a good place to start for the ACC. Oh, $500 million. I'm not saying it would be a good business decision, but I'm saying based on the bad contract you signed, that's kind of where it starts. And the ACC Florida State basically said as much. Remember, they had their meeting and the $572 million is kind of what they estimated it was going to cost. I think the ACC would cut you a deal, $550. You can keep that extra $22 million for yourself.
Yeah.
Go
get yourself something nice.
I'm a quarterback in the portal. I'm serious. That's where it starts. And you're going to court saying, I don't think we should have to pay that. You know what? I get kind of annoyed by the old Judge Judy clips. This is one situation where I do think Judge Judy should be the judge to hear it.
Go on.
Where she just looks at him and goes like, do we have stupid written on our foreheads? You signed a contract that says the exit fee is X amount. You're coming up here saying you don't want to pay the exit fee. Do I have stupid written on my forehead? I rule on the side of the ACC. Thank you. That sound was the mallet. And then what was his name? Bert, who was the bailiff?
Yeah, I think so.
Bert, see them out. That's what I want to have happen. I want Bert walking Florida State and Clemson out into the hallway where they then do the confessional in the hallway where they're like, yeah, I really thought I was going to she didn't let me finish. I really thought I was going to be able to make a better argument there, but I guess I'll just go ahead and pay. I knew I shouldn't have broke that couch. It's always something ridiculous on Judge Judy, right? I knew I shouldn't have signed that lease that said if I break the couch, I owe her $7,000. But what are you going to do? And oh, by the way, where do you think if Clemson and Florida State leave? Where do you think they want to go? I'll give you. You can pick two destinations.
Well, either the SEC or the Big Ten.
There you go. The SEC and the Big Ten don't want you to win these court cases.
No, they don't.
Because if let's say Clemson wins. Clemson takes the the ACC, got to get my acronyms right. Let's say Clemson takes the ACC to court and says we don't want to pay any exit fees and we want to own our media rights as soon as we're out of the ACC. And the court, for some reason, says, yes, Clemson wins. I don't know, the judge is a booster or something. Clemson wins. The judge is like Trevor Lawrence's uncle. Clemson wins. I don't know, just making something up here. Do you know who's going to be really mad about that? The SEC and the Big Ten, because the only way the SEC and the Big Ten can hold Georgia and Texas and Alabama and Texas A&M in the SEC and USC and Michigan and Ohio State in the Big Ten is through grant of rights deals. So if Clemson on a very public scale or Florida State on a very public scale proves that grant of rights have no bearing and they can't actually hold you, suddenly the Big Ten's going to be like, yeah, well, we'd love to have you here, Clemson. Here's our invitation. Oh, by the way, by the time you accept it, there might be no one in the Big Ten because you ruined the way we keep them here.
I think the Big Ten's exit fee is like $0, I think.
$0.
I think so. I think it was Nicole Auerbach actually posted it out earlier, but their exit fee, that was actually one of the contentions by Clemson was that, wait, our exit fees are not like everyone else's. So, like, why, that's kind of like one of their contention.
Do they, and I have to look into this, I assumed it was a higher number than that. Do they have the grant of rights, though, for the next however many years? It's like you can leave, but we still have the grant of rights for the next whatever,
I'm not
5, 6, 7 years.
I'm not entirely sure about that, but the withdrawal penalty for the Big Ten, $0. Big 12, an amount equal to revenues distributed to the departing member for the final 2 years of its membership in the conference. SEC, if given 2 years of notice, it's $30 million. If less than 2 years of notice is provided, $40 million. If no notice is provided, it's $45.
And
again, there's also the grant of rights stuff that goes in there. But here's the thing.
That's in addition to them controlling your negotiating rights for however long.
If you're already making the most, why would you leave?
True.
That's the thing. Am I going to just leave and take less money somewhere else? No one's going to do that.
That's a lesson for business people everywhere.
Yeah.
You could have everybody sign a non-compete clause so they can only work for you forever and ever, or you could just make your place someplace that people don't want to leave. It's kind of one or the other. I look at it like this. Clemson and Florida State are trying to James Harden their way out of there. Mm-hmm. They're trying to be nuisances. They're trying to be pests. They're trying to be expensive until finally the ACC says just go. And now the ACC is going to be tied up in very, very expensive court situations in 3 different states because Florida State is suing the ACC in Florida. That's going to be expensive. The ACC is suing Florida State in North Carolina, right here in our own state. That's going to be expensive. And now Clemson is suing the ACC in South Carolina. That's going to be expensive. 2 or 3 more teams do this. I don't know if the ACC can afford it. They might just have to let people do what they want just to preserve their checkbook. Darn it, Clemson.
You know they weren't going to stand pat, though.
I thought everyone was kind of cool letting Florida State be the squeaky wheel, and maybe if they knock over the wall, we can walk behind them. Now we have two people trying to knock the wall down. And who knows if that opens it up for more to try to knock the wall down. The future of the ACC is uncertain, at best.